What happens if you pour sugar water into your money plant? It sounds like a sweet treat, right? A little dessert for your green friend. But here is the truth. While it might seem like a harmless kitchen hack, this simple mixture can either supercharge your plant's growth or turn its roots into a rotting, fungal nightmare. Most people get the ratio completely wrong, and within weeks their lush, trailing vines start to yellow and collapse. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to use sugar water correctly so you get the explosive growth without the deadly side effects. Before we dive into the science and the step-by-step method, do me a quick favor. If you want to stop guessing with your plants and start growing with confidence, hit that subscribe button. I share practical, no-nonsense gardening tips every week that actually work in real homes, not just in perfect greenhouse conditions. Join our community of growers who are turning their spaces into jungles, one plant at a time. Let's get growing. Now, let's talk about what is actually in that glass of sugar water you are holding. To understand why this works or why it fails, we need to look beyond the white crystals. When we say sugar, we are usually talking about sucrose, which is a disaccharide. That is a fancy way of saying it is made of two simpler sugars glued together, glucose and fructose. When you dissolve table sugar in water, you are creating a solution rich in carbon. Carbon is the fundamental building block of life. Every leaf, every stem, and every root is largely made of carbon compounds. However, plants are unique because they are autotrophs. This means they make their own food. Through photosynthesis, they take carbon dioxide from the air and, using energy from sunlight, convert it into glucose. So why would they need sugar from you? The answer lies in energy efficiency and stress response. Under normal conditions, your money plant produces all the sugar it needs. But when a plant is stressed, maybe it has been repotted, moved to a new location, or is recovering from pest damage, its energy production drops. Its photosynthetic engines are sputtering. In these moments, providing an external source of easily accessible carbohydrates can give the plant a metabolic boost. It is like giving an exhausted runner a gel packet instead of making them cook a meal. But there is more to sugar than just energy. Sugar water acts as a signaling molecule. Recent studies in plant biology have shown that sugars play a crucial role in regulating gene expression. They tell the plant when to grow roots, when to flower, and when to defend itself. When you introduce a mild sugar solution, you are essentially sending a chemical signal to the plant's system that says, resources are available. It is safe to expand. This can trigger hormonal responses, particularly involving auxins and cytokinins, which drive cell division and elongation. We also need to talk about the water itself. Water is the solvent, the vehicle that carries nutrients through the soil and into the root hairs. But plain tap water often lacks the microbial activity that healthy soil needs. Sugar, in very specific diluted amounts, can serve as a food source for beneficial soil bacteria and fungi. These microbes break down organic matter in your potting mix, releasing locked-up nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus so the plant can absorb them. Think of the sugar as fuel for the microscopic workforce living in your soil. However, this is a double-edged sword. The same sugar that feeds beneficial bacteria also feeds harmful pathogens. If the concentration is too high, you are not feeding the plant. You are throwing a banquet for fungus and mold. The composition of this liquid is simple, just carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but its biological impact is complex. It is not a fertilizer in the traditional sense because it does not contain nitrogen, potassium, or phosphorus. Instead, it is a biostimulant. It changes how the plant uses energy and how the soil ecosystem functions. Understanding this distinction is critical. You are not feeding the plant minerals. You are feeding its metabolism and its microbiome. If you treat sugar water like a standard fertilizer, pouring it on thick and often, you will disrupt the osmotic balance of the soil, pulling water out of the roots instead of letting it in. We will cover exactly how to avoid that disaster in a moment, but first, we need to understand what your money plant is actually hungry for. To know if sugar water is the right tool, we must first understand the nutritional profile of the money plant, also known as pothos or Epipremnum aureum. This is one of the most popular houseplants in the world for a reason. It is resilient. But resilience does not mean it has no needs. To thrive, to produce those large variegated leaves with the striking yellow or white splashes, the money plant has specific requirements. First and foremost, like all green plants, it needs nitrogen. Nitrogen is the engine of vegetative growth. It is the primary component of chlorophyll, the pigment that makes leaves green and allows photosynthesis to happen. Without enough nitrogen, your money plant will produce small, pale leaves, and the vines will become leggy and weak as they stretch desperately for light. The plant cannot create nitrogen on its own, it must pull it from the soil. This is where the connection to our previous section becomes vital. Sugar water does not provide nitrogen. If your plant is yellowing because of a nitrogen deficiency, pouring sugar water on it will not help. In fact, it might make it worse by encouraging microbial growth that consumes the existing nitrogen in the soil, a process called immobilization. So, sugar water is not a substitute for a balanced fertilizer. It is a supplement. Secondly, the money plant needs potassium. Potassium is the regulator. It controls the opening and closing of stomata, the tiny pores on the leaves that allow gas exchange. It helps the plant manage water pressure, or turgor, which keeps the stems upright and the leaves crisp. If you notice your money plant looking droopy even when the soil is moist, it might be a potassium issue. Potassium also strengthens cell walls, making the plant more resistant to pests and diseases. Again, sugar water does not contain potassium. But here is the synergy. When a plant has adequate potassium and receives a mild sugar boost, its energy efficiency improves. The sugar provides the immediate fuel, while the potassium ensures the plant's internal systems are running smoothly to utilize that fuel. Third, we have micronutrients. Iron, magnesium, calcium, and manganese are needed in smaller amounts, but they are non-negotiable. Magnesium is the central atom in the chlorophyll molecule. Calcium builds strong cell structures. If your soil is depleted of these, the plant struggles. Sugar water can indirectly help here by stimulating the microbial life in the soil. As mentioned earlier, beneficial bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi help break down mineral particles in the soil, making these micronutrients available to the roots. So while the sugar itself is not a mineral, it activates the biological machinery that unlocks minerals. The most important thing to understand about the money plant's nutrient needs is that it is a moderate feeder. It does not need heavy doses of chemicals. It prefers a steady, gentle supply of nutrients. This is why the less is more approach works so well with pothos. They are adapted to growing in the understory of forests, where nutrients are recycled slowly through decaying leaf litter. They are not designed for the aggressive, high-nitrogen push that you might give a tomato plant. When we introduce sugar water, we are mimicking that natural, slow-release energy source found in decomposing organic matter. We are providing a quick burst of carbon energy that complements the steady intake of minerals from the soil. If your plant is already well fed with a balanced water-soluble fertilizer, adding sugar water can act as a performance enhancer. It pushes the plant to utilize those stored nutrients more aggressively, leading to faster vine extension and larger leaf production. But if your plant is starving for basic nutrients, sugar water is like putting premium gas in a car with no engine. It won't run. You must ensure your base nutrition is solid before adding this biostimulant. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why do I keep warning you? Because the benefits of sugar water are real, but the risks are severe if you ignore the rules. When used correctly, sugar water can revive a struggling plant, encourage root development in cuttings, and boost the vibrancy of variegation. It provides an immediate energy source that can help a plant recover from transplant shock. Have you ever repotted a plant and noticed it stalled for weeks? That is because it was using all its energy to repair root damage rather than grow new leaves. A mild sugar solution can offset that energy deficit, allowing the plant to bounce back faster. It can also improve the taste and texture of the sap, which, paradoxically, can sometimes deter certain pests that prefer stressed, bitter-tasting plants, though this is secondary to the growth benefits. However, here is the danger zone. Sugar is a magnet for pests. Ants, flies, and fungus gnats are attracted to the scent of fermenting sugar. If you spill sugar water on the rim of the pot or leave standing water on the soil surface, you are inviting an infestation. Fungus gnats in particular lay their eggs in moist, organic, rich soil. Their larvae feed on fungi and decaying matter. By adding sugar, you are creating an all-you-can-eat buffet for their food source, leading to a population explosion of these annoying black flies. More dangerously, sugar promotes fungal and bacterial growth. Pathogens like pythium, root rot, and fusarium thrive in sugary environments. If the concentration of sugar is too high, it creates a hypertonic environment in the soil. This means the soil solution has a higher concentration of solutes than the fluid inside the plant's roots. Through osmosis, water will move out of the roots and into the soil to try to balance the concentration. This literally dehydrates the plant from the inside out, even though the soil is wet. You will see wilting, browning leaf tips, and eventually total collapse. The roots will turn mushy and black. This is not underwatering, this is chemical burning caused by improper dilution. Furthermore, as bacteria break down the sugar, they consume oxygen. Soil needs air. If the microbial activity spikes too high due to excess sugar, they can deplete the oxygen in the soil, suffocating the roots. This is why drainage and aeration are critical when using this method. You must respect the power of this simple ingredient. It is not just water, it is a biological activator. Treat it with caution. So, how do you apply this safely? Follow these steps precisely. Do not guess. Precision is the difference between a thriving plant and a dead one. Step 1. Prepare the solution. You will need plain white granulated sugar and room temperature water. Do not use honey, molasses, or brown sugar for this specific method, as they contain impurities and minerals that can alter the pH and clog soil pores. Use standard white sucrose. The golden ratio is 1 teaspoon of sugar per 1 liter, approximately 4 cups of water. This creates a 0.5% solution. Do not exceed this. Some guides suggest up to 1 tablespoon, but for a beginner or a standard houseplant, 1 teaspoon is the safe starting point. Stir the water vigorously until the sugar is completely dissolved. There should be no grains left at the bottom. Step 2. Check the soil. Before applying, stick your finger about 2 inches into the soil. It should be dry to the touch. Never apply sugar water to soggy, waterlogged soil. The soil needs to be able to absorb the solution without becoming anaerobic. If the soil is compacted, gently aerate the top layer with a chopstick or a small fork to ensure good penetration. Step 3. Application. Pour the solution slowly around the base of the plant, avoiding the leaves and stems. You want the liquid to go directly into the root zone. Do not splash it on the foliage, as sticky leaves attract dust and pests. Apply enough so that the soil is evenly moistened but not dripping. For a standard 6-inch pot, about half a cup to 1 cup of the solution is sufficient. For larger pots, scale up proportionally, but always stick to the dilution ratio. Step 4. Clean up. Wipe any spills from the pot rim or the saucer immediately. Remove any standing water from the tray beneath the pot. This prevents pests from breeding and stops mold from forming on the surface. Step 5. Monitor. Over the next few days, watch your plant closely. Look for signs of distress, such as sudden wilting or yellowing. If you see fungus gnats appearing, stop the treatment immediately and let the soil dry out completely. You may need to use a neem oil drench to control the pest population. Timing is everything. You cannot use sugar water whenever you feel like it. There are strict rules for when this treatment is effective and when it is dangerous. First, never use sugar water during the dormant season. For most money plants, this is late autumn and winter, when daylight hours are short and temperatures drop. During this time, the plant's metabolism slows down significantly. It is not actively growing, so it does not need the extra energy boost. Adding sugar during dormancy only feeds soil pathogens while the plant is too sluggish to benefit. Save this treatment for the active growing season, which is spring and summer. Second, avoid using it immediately after fertilizing. Wait at least 2 weeks after applying a synthetic fertilizer. Mixing high concentrations of salts from fertilizer with sugar can create a toxic cocktail for the roots. Let the plant process the fertilizer first. Third, do not use it on a plant that is currently suffering from root rot. If the roots are already black and mushy, adding sugar will accelerate the decay. You need to fix the drainage and remove the rotten parts first. Only use sugar water on healthy plants or those recovering from minor stress, like repotting or leaf loss. The ideal time to apply sugar water is in the early morning. This gives the plant the entire day to utilize the energy boost during photosynthesis. Avoid evening applications, as the cool, dark, moist conditions overnight are perfect for fungal growth. As for frequency, less is more. Do not make this a weekly habit. Apply sugar water once a month during the peak growing season, May through August. That is it. 4 times a year is plenty. If you see vigorous growth, you can skip a month. Think of it as a monthly vitamin, not a daily meal. Overuse leads to salt buildup and microbial imbalance. Consistency with low frequency is the key to success. So, what can you expect to see? Patience is required. This is not a magic instant fix. After the first application, you likely will not see any dramatic changes for the first 7 to 10 days. The plant is working internally, adjusting its metabolic processes. Around the 2-week mark, you may start to notice subtle differences. The existing leaves might appear slightly glossier and deeper in color. This is due to improved chlorophyll efficiency. If you have a cutting that is rooting, you might see new white root tips emerging sooner than expected. By the 3rd or 4th week, the real magic happens. You should see new growth points activating. If your money plant has been stagnant, producing only one small leaf every few months, you might suddenly see 2 or 3 new leaves unfurling from the nodes. The vines may extend faster, showing increased inner node length. The variegation on varieties like Golden Pothos or Marble Queen may become more pronounced, with brighter yellows and whites, as the plant has the energy to produce these pigment-intensive patterns. The overall vigor of the plant will improve, stems will feel firmer, and the plant will look more awake. It is a subtle shift from surviving to thriving. Remember, these results depend on your plant having adequate light and base nutrients. Sugar water amplifies health. It does not create it from nothing. If your plant is in a dark corner, no amount of sugar will make it grow. But in the right conditions, this monthly boost can transform a slow grower into a rapid climber. If you have made it this far, you are ready to try this technique with confidence. You now understand the chemistry, the biology, and the precise method to keep your money plant healthy and vibrant. Gardening is not about memorizing complex rules. It is about understanding the needs of your living companions and responding with care and precision. Sugar water is just one tool in your toolkit, but when used correctly, it is a powerful one. I want to hear from you. Have you tried using sugar water before? Did it work, or did you run into issues? Let me know in the comments below. Your experiences help our entire community learn and grow. And if you found this guide helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more plant lovers like you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a tip on how to turn your home into a green sanctuary. Thanks for watching, and happy growing.